Today I'm speaking to people aged 25 to 44 years old, so people who are in their early to middle adulthood.
It's easy to lose focus when dealing with debt, but that's where we come in. Ginsberg Gingras has helped over 140,000 people take a smarter path forward, make better repayment plans, and enjoy an easier return to life as normal, confidently and confidentially. Your life beyond debt? We see it. Ginsberg Gingras, licensed insolvency trustees. Find us online. Ginsberg Gingras. We resolve, you restart.
Over the last 10 years, we've been seeing an increase in indebtedness in this age group. And in this age group, people are dealing with all kinds of debt, like credit cards, lines of credit, car payments, just to name a few. Most of them are able to make their monthly payments, but some are finding it hard to save and are still accumulating new debts in order to make ends meet or ensure a good quality of life. Some of them are also thinking about homeownership, but feel discouraged by their financial situation. Today's young adults are more educated than the previous generation. They're seeking a work-life balance. They're heavily burdened by student loans or young professional loans. Some are planning or have just started to plan a family, and others are considering or have recently become homeowners. You might ask yourself, why do millennials or people between 25 and 44 years old have so much debt when they're at the beginning of their life? Well, studies are longer and more expensive than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. There's an inaccessible housing market, so rent is really high. Prices of first-time home ownership is also higher than it was for previous generation. Wages are stagnating. Living expenses are soaring, especially when it comes to housing, like I previously said, transportation, the cost of the food, the cost of insurance, and there's no room in most people's budget for unexpected costs or interest rate fluctuations. It's really difficult for a single person with an average income to meet basic needs. In my practice, people often realize during our meeting that they've waited too long before seeking help. They've either used credit to pay off credit, or they've involved a third person or a co-signer in order to co-sign a debt, which makes a situation kind of sticky when you're dealing with a family member or a friend that's now involved in your debt situation. Or they've waited to be denied for credit before realizing that their debt situation was out of control. So when you start to realize that you're stuck, there are 3 steps that are recommended by insolvency professionals. First one is to make a realistic budget, not one filled with wishful thinking or blue sky scenarios, but one that will actually determine and take into account what you have in terms of income, what you need in terms of living expenses, and you make every dollar count. And then you prioritize debt repayment, starting with the highest interest debts. We would also recommend you seek advice from a professional like a licensed insolvency trustee in order to get advice regarding your debt load and finding your path out of debt. You can book an appointment with me, Chantal Gingras, or any other licensed insolvency trustee with Ginsberg Gingras in order to assess your situation and propose a tailored solution to your financial needs. Our consultations are free of charge, there's no obligation, and they're also kept confidential. When people come to see us, a lot of people want to avoid bankruptcy at all costs for many reasons. They might have assets to protect, or they might not sometimes they just don't like the stigma of having filed for bankruptcy, or maybe they filed for bankruptcy in the past and they want to avoid a second or a third bankruptcy. That is when a consumer proposal might also be an option. A consumer proposal will reduce your monthly payments, often by half or more than half. It ends interest and collection calls. So interests are crystallized at the date where you file your consumer proposal. We notify your creditors, and eventually the collection calls will stop. There's no cosigner needed. You don't need to bring in a third party for a consumer proposal, and it can be repaid at any time with no penalties if your financial situation improves over the course of time. And contrary to popular belief, a consumer proposal is not a bankruptcy. It is a legal process provided for within the Bankruptcy and Insolvency Act, which avoids a bankruptcy and allows you to restructure your debt according to your ability to pay. If you've listened to this podcast and have some questions, we've actually created a new tool to help you out. It's an email address where a licensed insolvency trustee will answer any questions you might have. So the address is podcast@Ginsberg-Gingras.com. So I repeat, podcast@Ginsberg-Gingras.com. Behind every debt, there's a story and often a solution. Let us help you find a path out of debt. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of our podcast. In order to see your future beyond debts or to find out more about our services, please visit our website at Ginsberg-Gingras.com or call us at 1-800-567-1905. Stay tuned for future episodes, and thanks for listening.